Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulihi. Amma ba'du. I greet our listening audience. Assalamu alaikum wa Ramadan Mubarak. Welcome to our Mali Ramadan sessions. This is week 3, day 1. We're going to be looking at the Qur'an, chapter 38, verse 75 throughout the week, analyzing various sources. This week is based upon the Ramadan Sessions, Book 1 of Imam W.D. Muhammad, and we're going to be looking from page 19 to 20. You want to read up to page 20 at least, 19 to 20, and prepare your questions. The students, prepare your questions for our discussion on Sunday. We had a very, very long, interesting, dynamic discussion yesterday. So be sure to write down your questions, and if I give an assignment during the week, be sure to work on your assignment. We had very good response yesterday on the assignment from last week. Today we're going to start again with the 4 sheets of grammar. Some of it I'm going to go through pretty fast because we've spent 2 weeks on it. Go back, listen to the recordings. Those of you that are in the beginner's class. The grammar is for the beginner's class. Take a look. I'm going to introduce something new even to the advanced students. We're going to be looking at the grammar, word by word grammar, and then we're going to look at how the phrases connect grammatically. It's something that may be new even for the advanced students. How to read the Qur'an connecting phrases, how to see the phrases, and then connect the phrases. So today, I will show you, I'll point out the phrases, and then show how to connect the phrases. The first step, you learn letters, alif, ba, ta. Then you learn how to connect the letters to form words, that you can see words. Then we connect, and then we look at the words, how they connect grammatically. We look at the letters to see how they form words, like conjugation. Conjugation is how letters are formed, to give you a form from a root letter, a trilateral root letter. How we add letters, they give us the conjugation of a verb in terms of the past, present, or command tense. Then we add letters that give us forms of the verbs and the nouns in terms of intensifying, reflexive, reciprocity, so forth and so on. It gives you meanings within the form of the word. Then we have how the words are connected grammatically. These are connecting letters to form words, the first two, and then we have words, how they are connected grammatically when we're reading. And one is the verbal moods, and the other is the nouns, the grammar of nouns. Yes, and in fact, there are verbal moods, which is grammar, connecting words are being connected and affecting each other, and then you have the nouns, words are connected, affecting each other. Then we have phrases, how phrases are connected, how phrases connect grammatically, affecting each other. And that's what we're going to concentrate on today. So the verse reads, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Let's go through the system. This is the Mali system that we're showing each week. The Mali system. The system is founded upon read the Qur'an for yourself first. Learn to read it yourself first. Read the verse grammatically for yourself first. Then look to see what others say about it. So we're looking at dictionaries, tafsirs. It gives us an idea of what others say about the verse, about the words in the verse itself, from dictionaries and tafsirs. Then we're going to go and look to see what the Imam says. That's where the focus is. Then, after that, we have something to say. What do we say? And where do we see it in our everyday life that we can apply it to our life here in America 2024? That's the Mahdi system. That's the foundation of the Muslim American Logic Institute. Our vision is to grow in an institution where the Quran is the foundation, and then we grow and develop from there into the various sciences based upon the Quran. Short-term goals and objectives, long-term goals and objectives. So read the verse, Qala, and we'll look and get the translation of the words from this translation here. It will give us an idea about the word. So it says, Qala, he said. The next phrase, Ya Iblisu, O Iblis. This is the word for O, this is the word for Iblis. Ma. And then we have a word that has been dropped, omitted. So ma, what? That's the meaning of ma. Mana'aka. We have a verb with the pronoun connected. Mana'aka. Hindereth thee, or hindereth you. You, masculine singular, goes back to Iblis. And that, so I'm saying that from Tasjuda Lima. Falling prostrate, and Lima is that, before that. Before that which, all of that, that's the mad. That which, before that which. Li would be before, ma would be that which. Khalaqtu, I created. That's created. For this word, he's translating as created. Bi yadayya, with, that's B is with. Yadayya is my hand, both my hands. My is a pronoun attached. The ya is a pronoun attached. Yaday is two hands. My two hands. He says my hands, it's dual, two. Astakbarata, this is asking a question. Let me see if you can follow it. At is asking the question. Art. We may not use this kind of English. And this astakbarata, you proud. You too proud. Are you too proud? We say are, not art. Art thou. Are you too proud? Are you seeking to be proud? Too proud. That's this word. Estagbara is proud. This one is asking a question. Or am is or, and then he's continuing. Are you, or you are, or are you are, or are you, or you are, art thou, or thou art, of, then of, and then el-alim. El-alim is the high exalted, the high exalted, el-alim, the high exalted. Now, that's the first step. Step number one for the beginners. You come to Mali, you should be able to read that, the words, you should be able to read, and then perhaps try to find the English equivalent. That's where you start. We're going to wean you off of the translation. But when you come, you start with the translation. And since we use this Abu Faris, when we get to it, you can use his translation or whatever translation is available. You just want to get an idea about the word. You don't have to stick to a translation. Just get the idea about the word. Because when you start reading for yourself, start having your own feeling for what's being said, you're not going to translate it the same way. You'll find in the class, 10 students can write a reflection on this verse. None of them will be the same. They can translate it, none will be the same. So don't worry about this translation versus that translation. That's for people that can't read the Arabic. They'll talk about what translation is better than the other. But here you come to Mali to learn to read, and the question is, what do you say? You see what they say. You see what the Imam says. What do you say? That's where you want to get. Okay, now, first step, after reading it yourself, go to the sheets. We're going to go to the sheets. So here we have the sheet. Here we have is the first sheet is the conjugation sheet. On the conjugation sheet, we have the three verbs, the tense of the verbs. They're conjugated in the past, the present, and the command. This is a trilateral root letters, fa'ala. We add letters to the fa'ala to give it its conjugation. We have gone through it twice. There's no need that I go through it again. You can go back, listen to recordings. They're on Facebook, they're on YouTube, and for the students, they're on the NEE network. And also we have here pronouns. Now we have detached pronouns and we have attached pronouns. In parentheses here, we have a detached pronoun. This when a pronoun is by itself. When a pronoun is by itself. When the pronoun is by itself, basically, most of the time, of course, there are going to be exceptions to the rule. We can call it a mubtada or a subject. We have subject and predicate. When you have a subject, we need a predicate for a complete thought. So for I and as by itself will be we could call it a subject pronoun. A subject pronoun. Now we have when it's attached. The ya is attached. When the ya is attached to a verb, we're add a noun. We're at a noon. So you will say, fa'alani, he did something to me. We add the noon, we add the yeah, and then we say, he did something to me. Here's the rule. When a pronoun is attached to a noun, it's the second term possessive, or we can call it a possessive pronoun. It possesses the noun. When the pronoun is attached to a noun, it's the second term possessive or a possessive pronoun. So now we have a subject pronoun when it's by itself. When it's attached to a noun, it's a possessive pronoun. When the pronoun is attached to a verb, it's the object of the verb. We can call it an object pronoun. So in the nominative, we call it will be, if it's by itself, it's in the nominative, and it will be called a subject pronoun. When it's attached to a noun, it's genitive, and we will call it a possessive pronoun. When it's attached to the verb, it's the object of the verb, we will call it an object pronoun. Okay? And we have the list here, anti, you masculine singular, ca is an attached for you masculine singular. Anti, detached, you feminine singular, he, attached, you feminine singular. For he, who, where, and for the attached, who. She, he, for the attached, had. We, nahnu, for the attached, na. You, masculine plural, antum, for the attached, cum, which you see a lot. You, feminine plural, antunna, for the attached, kunna. You don't see that much. Whom, whom. When it's detached is whom, when it's attached is whom. Hunna, for they feminine plural, hunna, hunna. So the they masculine plural and they feminine plural, the attached and the detached are the same. Whom, hunna, hunna. You masculine and feminine dual. Two men, two women, or a man and a woman. And two man, you dual, and two man, kumar, attached. They masculine dual, humar, humar. They feminine dual, humar, humar. They're the same. You know the difference by the context. So they dual will be humar. I mean, they dual, yes, it's humar, and you dual is kumar. So you only have for the dual you and they. Okay, that's the chart. That's the pronouns that's on the chart. The next chart is the 10 forms charts. We've gone over the 10 form charts. You have the past. We add letters in the past tense, present tense, command. You're adding letters to give it its form, and then every form can be conjugated of the verb. For example, if you have fa'ala, it can be conjugated. If you want to say I, that's he did in the past tense, that's he. All of these are he in the past tense. If you want to say you, masculine singular, you say fa'alata. You add the ta that you added from the conjugation. So all the verbal forms can be conjugated. Now, you're not going to learn this in one lesson. In 1 month, it's just showing you. I'm showing you the sheets. Then when you join Mali, take your time, and inshallah, you will learn. Yes. It takes more than a session to learn Qur'anic Arabic. So this gives you an overview of the system. That's what we're doing. We're giving you an overview of the Mali system. But you come to Mali, you'll learn to read yourself. You're going to learn to read sources yourself. You're going to learn to read Imam yourself. You're going to learn to write reflections on the verse. You're going to learn to write comments on the verse. Yes. And you can see students now that are writing. They're writing reflections and comments on the verse now, without saying the Arabic. But if you could read, you would see where their sources are. And they're writing from various sources, not one source. You can see them on Facebook now writing. Some may write just 2 sentences, but in those 2 sentences, they may be using 2 or 3 sources to come to the idea that they wrote. That's the Mali system. Yes. And as you're writing, you're applying it to your own environment. The nouns are the internal noun, active noun, passive noun. This is a Mali term. Internal noun is a Mali term. So I don't expect for you to see it in books. I've seen it in 1 book so far. But this is not a common term. This is a Mali term that I coined. I coined this term, internal noun. In the internal noun, fi'lun, this internal noun has over 40 different forms. And within those forms may carry meaning. Like we had the word magfira. We have the word masjid. Masjid, when you take a meme and you put a fatha on the meme, and you put a kasra on the middle letter, masjid, then it makes a noun of place. So you take magfira, you put the fatha on the first letter, magfira, and put a kasra on the middle letter, and it becomes a noun of place. It's the place where forgiveness takes place. It's a place where sajda takes place. Masjid, it comes from the word meaning prostration. The masjid is the place where you make prostration. Gafara is forgiveness. So magfira is the place that you receive forgiveness, that you are forgiven, that you forgive and is forgiven. Magfira. So these are different. Now you may have a noun of instrument, like miftah. You have fatiha. Fatiha is an active. Fa'ilun, fatiha. Put an aleph, put a kasra on the middle letter. The talamabuta just is an added, but it's from the form. It's from the active form. So it's the opener. It's the one. Fataha is to open. So fatihun or fatihatun would be opener. It's the thing that's doing the opening. It's the opener. Yes. So al-Fatiha is the opener. It's opening something. Perhaps, and now we'll take that idea from the word. Now we look at it, and we may ask philosophically, what is it opening? It's opening something. Yes. And perhaps it's opening something that was closed, or opening something that was locked. So it's the opener. Now, if you put it in another form, miftahun, take a meme with a kasra and then add an aleph to the middle letter, miftahun becomes a noun of instrument. in the internal noun column. I grouped them up. I grouped 40 different forms in the internal noun. So miftahun becomes a noun of instrument in that form. So so if you take the same word here, if you take the word miftahun now and take the word fatiha, then miftahun would be an instrument that opens something. It's the instrument that is used to open. What is an instrument that is used to open? We call it a key. But al-fatiha is not the key. Al-fatiha is the opener that uses the key to open. Now, my thinking is based upon, I read it as it is, and then I think and reflect on it, and that's what I would have to say. And I see what others have to say, and then I would say, Al-Fatiha is not the key. Al-Fatiha is the opener. It's the opener, and it uses the key to open. And then you have maf'ulun is the passive. So if I take the same word, fataha, and put it in this form, it'd be maftuhun. So maftuhun would be the thing that was opened. That was the thing that was locked. That is what was opened. I have an opener. I have open. I have opener. I have the key that's used to open. And then I have that which is opened. This is the 10-form chart. So we reflect. What is it that you are opener? What is it that you are opening? Yes. And what are the keys? What is the key or the keys? The key that you're using to open. Now you're on the road to reflection. Allah says we revealed it in Arabic, actually in Qur'anic Arabic, in order that you use your brain, in order that you reflect, in order that you think. When reading Arabic, and the Qur'an, especially the Qur'an, is going to force you to pause and think and reflect. You cannot speed read the Qur'an. You have to pause and reflect. Read a little, pause, reflect. Read a little, pause, reflect. Read a little, pause, reflect. Yes, take your time with it. So now we have the past, present, command, 3 tenses of the verb, and we have internal, active, passive of the nouns. Basic, fundamental basics. Because it's not your language, you don't speak the Qur'anic language, then you should learn grammar. That's the first step. Then we have the moves chart that we have introduced already. And we say the moves are indicative, subjunctive, jussive. And we gave a basic idea to help you remember the moves of the 3 souls. The 3 moves of the soul. Sometimes the soul is in the indicative mood. That means nothing has affected it. It's going to end in the Dhamma, just the way you learned the present tense. Or it's going to have Una or Ina or Annie. Just as nothing affects it, nothing changes. It doesn't change. The mood is in its peaceful state. Nothing has interrupted its mood. Like we talk about the sensitivities. The soul is very sensitive also. Like the water is sensitive. You throw something light on the water, you'll see the ripples. You'll see the effect, the ripple effect. But here, nothing has been thrown on the water to cause it to ripple. That's the nafsan mutmainna. That's a certain mood you're in. You're in a nice, peaceful mood. No one is bothering you. Nothing is bothering you. Now, here comes along something that bothers you. And it changes your mood. It puts you in a subjunctive mood. Now, don't worry about these English words. I'm showing you the function. So don't run to an English dictionary and say, oh, he didn't say subjunctive. Don't worry about that. We call it what we want to call it. It puts you in this mood that something affected it. So now I did this due to that, due to that. So there are ripples. That's the subjunctive. We call it nafsun lawama. The next one is the adjective, and let's go back. Subjunctive, they have fata. It changes from a dhamma to a factor. Why? Because something affected it and caused that dhamma to become, that peaceful dhamma to become fata. And the noon has been dropped. Something came, affected it, and it dropped the noon. Caused the noon to fall off. Here in you, in the you feminine, masculine, plural, I mean you feminine plural and they feminine plural, something came, affected it, affected your mood, and caused that noon to drop off. And put an elif there. And then they, same thing, caused the noon to drop off. Endure to cause the noon to drop off. When that noon dropped off, something affected it. We can see the verb in the present tense. The past tense is done. Nothing changes, so it doesn't change. Command, it doesn't change because it hasn't happened. The act hasn't started. As we speak. As we speak, the act is going on. Something came in, affected it, changed the mood, fata. Now, in the adjective, we have, it ends with the sukoon. A sukoon, or the noon is dropped. Where you have that noon, ina, una, ani, the noon is dropped. And this gives it, now you have a commanding spirit. We call it nafsan amara. Very commanding. Very demanding. Demanding, commanding. This is the adjective. Yesterday you were peaceful. Today you're very questionable about your acts. Now you're very demanding. It fluctuates. These are moods. Don't see them as developments. They're not developments. They are moods. If you see it that way, it will help you remember. Now we have particles. There are subjunctive particles. This is in a sheet. It's an addendum, really. These are the subjunctive particles that you can see is affecting the mood. Subjunctive particles and adjective particles that affect the moods. Join Mali and you'll learn how to recognize and see the particles. Now you begin to get a feeling for what's going on now. When you're reading, you begin to get a feeling for what you read. Reading is more than just saying words. Saying words and have a meaning, it creates a certain feeling. The word doesn't come to me right now, but you get a certain, you start putting you in moods. You start visualizing, you start getting feelings about what you're reading. Something is in the form 2. You know it's an intensified act. You begin to feel the intensity of the act. After a while, the Qur'an becomes like watching a movie. You watch the movie and you see the scenes. The scenes will start coming. And one could be very intensified scene. One could be the scene is now switched to something reciprocal going on between two people. And then in the next scene, you have something that's very reflexive. It occurs from within. You're changing these scenes. You're changing moods as you go. And while all of this is going on, you have music in the background. The Qur'an rhymes. So you're seeing all of this at the same time as rhyming. Like a movie. You're seeing it. Now, it used to be when they would have a song. See, now you can have just a song, recitation, without meaning or understanding. It's like hearing a song with no lyrics. You're just hearing the rhythm section, but no lyrics. You have to make up whatever is in your head. Just make it up to go with the rhythm. You make up something that goes with the rhythm. Then there's a song where you have words to it. You have lyrics to the song. And it may cause you to reflect on a situation or an experience that you may have had. You can apply it to something. Yes. Nowadays, they'll give you a video. They'll give you the rhythm, the music, the rhythm. They'll give you the lyrics, and they will give you a picture of where to apply the lyrics. Now, you don't have to think at all. You don't have to reflect. They gave you the picture that you were to have. Before, you was making your own picture based upon the lyrics and the music. Now they do that for you. Such as reading the Qur'an. The Qur'an, it gives you the rhythm, maybe rhythm only. Then you learn to read and comprehend the lyrics. In reading the lyrics, you make your own picture from the lyrics of something that you may have experienced. But then the Grand Sheikh comes along and gives you your picture. Now you don't have to think. Now when you read the Quran, you don't have to think. Because someone gave you the rhythm, someone gave you the lyrics, and someone gave you the picture that you're supposed to get from the rhythm and the lyrics. Now you don't have to think. And the picture they gave you was in a situation that existed 500 years ago. And it gives you that exact same picture that they were getting 500 years ago from the lyrics. And tell you're supposed to have those that get that same picture and then act on it. Because you cannot have the rhythm, and the rhythm is based upon intensified, calm, reciprocal, seeking out something, what have you. It's creating these rhythms, and you're getting the feeling, and now you're getting the lyrics. And they're telling you, but don't try to get a picture that we didn't already give you. Don't apply it. Don't let a picture conjure up in your mind from your experience of hearing the rhythm and the lyrics. We're going to give you the picture that you're to have. And after a while, the whole Muslim world dummy downs. Scholarship is lost. Application of the Quran is lost. Now the Quran has no value. All we want now is just the rhythm to give us feeling. Now, let's get back to where we at. Where are we at? This happens on Ramadan. Where are we at? We're on the nouns now. That was the moods. Now we're on the nouns. Okay. Did I record?
Has started.
Okay. Okay. The nouns. The nouns, we have the nominative, the genitive, and the accusative. The nominative is the subject or influenced by the subject. We went over it in detail. The genitive is influenced by the preposition. The accusative is influenced by the verb. Nominative, genitive, and accusative. So in the nominative, it ends in dhamma. In the dual, it's adni. We add adni. In the plural, una. That's for the definite. Indefinite, a so-and-so. Definite, the so-and-so. The book. Indefinite, a book. Tanween Dhamma. So we have Tanween Dhamma, Dhamma or Tanween Dhamma. Ani and Una. That's the endings. When we're reading the grammar of nouns, pay attention to your endings. You go to the ending and you go back. You read, you go back. You read, you go back. You do it with words, and you're going to do it. You do it with the letters here, and you do it with words. See what affected it. So nothing affects it. So it's going to either be a subject or it's influenced by the subject. And the thing that's influenced by the subject is the predicate. So it's going to be a subject or a predicate. That's the nominative. The genitive is going to be influenced by a preposition. Either the preposition is going to be visible, you see it, or if you don't see it, it's in a possessive case. The preposition has been omitted, has dropped. It's understood, but it's dropped. It ends in kesra. The noun will end in kesra, aini or ina, or tanween kesra, aina or ina. And the accusative is influenced by the verb. When you have it in the accusative, go back. You see it fata, go back. Where's the verb? Is in the kesra, go back. Where's the preposition? Is it there? Is it not there? Or ina and aini. You know the context. These are the same. Ina, aini, aini, ina. They're the same, but you know by the context. If it's a noun, if it's accusative or genitive, and read the meaning of the words and see which one makes the better sense. That's all you have to do. Or tanween fata, aini or ina. The same. The context. You will know by the context. Join Mali will teach you how to recognize by the context. And then we have the rules that are here. The nominative rules. Subject, subject of the verb, deputy subject, noun or subject of kana, predicate, predicate of ina. Subjects and predicates. The genitive, object of the preposition, and we learn the prepositions. There are five detached, five attached, and five detached, and three attached. And those are your prepositions. All the other words you may read in dictionaries or other sources, they may call them prepositions. But with Mali, there are five original, five detached, and three attached. Everything else is not a preposition. It makes it easy for you to remember. Then learn the rules about the others. They fall into another category of rules. Second term possessive. The second, you have two terms, two nouns come together. The second noun possesses the first noun. It'll take on Castle or Tawin Castle or Aini or Ina, Aini or Ina. But the li, the preposition li, is understood. So it's affected by a preposition, the second term. In the accusative, now the noun of swearing is rare. It is rare. Don't spend 10 hours looking at a particle, trying to figure out a particle. Don't spend all your time trying to figure out particles. It's not that deep. It'd be too much to try to figure out functions of particles and when and why this particle is being used. It's too much. You'll be looking at too much. Get the basics down. Get the basics. These sheets giving you the basics. This is about 85% of the meat and potatoes. If you get 85%, you can get the others. You can get the other 15%. But if you don't have this, why look at the other 15? If you don't have this, why are you giving me salt and pepper, but I have nothing to put it on? I don't have the food, but I got the salt and the pepper. And I'm trying to determine what's the difference in the taste, but I have nothing to put it on. If I give me the icing, but you don't give me the cake, or I have the beautiful icing, but I don't have the cake to put it on. But if you had the cake and not the icing, you'll be okay. But the icing without the cake, you're not okay. I'm giving you the meat and potatoes, the flour, the sugar, the butter, all the ingredients to make a cake, except for the icing. The other 15%, you're putting icing on the cake. So that's what this the basic fundamental sheets to every grammar. If you go get books on grammar, all the rules you're going to be reading about are on these sheets. So learn to read the sheets. Take the Qur'an, that's the book. Read the Qur'an and learn to use the sheets. That's what Mali is about. Because even if you have the book, you still need a teacher. If you have the book, you need a teacher. So, since you have the teacher, have a teacher that can teach the sheets. All the Mali students can show you how to use the sheets. Let's say the advanced students. Those that come 3 weeks and they're going on to be grand sheikhs, maybe they can't help you. But those who stay and they become advanced students, all of the Mali students can help you with the sheets. Now, they may do what I do, take a whole week and hours of teaching. No, but if you see them out there, Juma, and everybody has their sheet in their pocket or purse, carry your sheet. And there's examples for all the rules. It's already written, it's recorded and everything. The whole system is written and recorded. And this Ramadan sessions are going to be recorded, written and recorded. So you go to the writing, the recording, and now you see a student. Now there are Mali students all over the country now, maybe in every major masjid, all over the country. And all you need with you is your sample sheet and the sheet you're working on, one of these 5 sheets. And all you have to do is ask, I'm looking at this, can you help me with this on the sheet? And they can show you on the sheet right away. Because you're going to have the same sheet that they had. And you can get a lesson in 10 minutes. Instead of talking foolishness or just social talking, whatever you call it, you can have 10 minutes with your sheet. That's all it takes. It doesn't take an hour, 5 minutes. Where is this at on the sheet? You can have your Qur'an with you and have your sheets with you and see a Mali student, advanced Mali student say, hey, where is this at on the sheet? And they'll show you on the sheet. Yes. This will make a big change and bring value, precious value, back to the Qur'an. They can show you the sheet. Quick lesson in 5 minutes, 10 minutes. That's all it would take. Yes. Like when some of you call me. You call me and say, hey, I was looking at this, and I can't figure this out. Could you help me with this? I say, yes. Go here, you see this? Boom, it's on the sheet. You see it there? Yes, okay. Lesson's over. Now, if we continue talking, that's on me and the person. But I can do it in 5. Give me 5 minutes. I can show you on the sheet. I'll show you where it's at. I'll show you on the sheet. Yes. You don't have to carry books with you. Fold it up, put it in your pocket. That's the system. Put your children in the system. Put your children in the system. And you're Mali student, you're Mali parents. You can just ask them, what sheet are you on? We have students now, the Mali parents. I'm saying this because it's very important. The Mali parents, they put their children in the Mali class. Now, all the children that have Mali parents are still in the class. The ones that don't have the Mali parents have already dropped out. Some have gone on to greener pastures. Why? Because the Mali parents know the value and they know the children are going to learn and they're going to be advanced. But they're not going to be advanced in 1 month, 2 months, not even 1 year. The same with learning numbers. You're not going to be doing algebra in the first grade. You've been in school all year and you still can't do algebra. That's okay. We know you're going to get there. Stay there. Stay in school. We know you're going to get there. We know it's going to be valuable to you. Just be patient. You're going to get there. But the parent will look and say, my child still don't know nothing about math. I take them out to school. They ain't learning nothing. Take them out. They're not showing me nothing. Take them out. But the State Department says, no, you better not take them out. We don't have a State Department that says, no, you got to keep your children in Qur'anic Arabic. We don't have an Islamic State Department that says they have to learn comprehension. It's a shame. And I'm going to say it and say it and say it until we get it. But the parents could say, what sheet are you on? What did you learn today? What sheet are you on? Try it. Those parents whose children are in the Mali system, just ask them, what sheet are you on? And they'll tell you what sheet. And you can go in the Qur'an and say, okay, what's that? We're on the noun and noun ending sheet. Okay, this noun ends in a kasra. What's the rule? Just to check them, see if they're learning. What's the rule? You don't know that? It says bismi. You say you're on a noun ending sheet. The first word is bismi. Bismi Allahi. Why does bismi end in kasra? Why does Allahi end in kasra? If you're in Mali class, and you're telling me you're in Mali and you're on the last sheet, the grammar sheet, did you do the genitive? They say yes. Okay, let's see. Well, why does this end in kasra? Why does this end in kasra? Ar-Rahmani. Why does that one end in kasra? Ar-Rahimi. Why does that one end in kasra? So you can check to see. But if you have no idea, and your children in the class, you can't ask them. You have no idea. Now you can trust that they'll learn, or you can take them out. It has no value. It has no value for their future. I have to talk this way. Now I might be ostracized like all the messengers in the Qur'an were ostracized when they came with messages. But that's okay. Khamsatu at-tabi'in. These are followers. 3 followers you want to pay attention to. Adjective, substitute, and sequence. Pay attention to those 3. They follow nouns. They can follow a noun, whether it's nominative, accusative, or genitive. And whatever noun they're following, they'll follow it. If the noun is nominative, the follow will be nominative. If the noun is accusative, the follow will be accusative. If the noun is genitive, the follow will be genitive. That's the sheets. Now, let's go to, let's go to what we're dealing with, right? We're looking at. Let's look at the verse. Yes, these are Ramadan sessions. We take our time. As we go. We're not looking at the clock. Go to the recording to go and look at whatever part you want to go over and see for the beginners. This is really the beginners section. The beginners. If you're in Saturdays, 7:30 class, or Sunday 6:30 class, this is for you specifically. Come Sunday, ask your questions. And we're going to start a new beginners class first week in May. We'll start a new class the first week in May. If you can read words, you come right into the Mali class. If you can't read words, we will send you to a teacher who teaches the beginning. And after you learn words, you come into the Mali. We stop teaching Abatat. You can learn that in many places. Okay, here's the verse now. We read the verse. We saw the meaning of the words. So now let's look at the grammar. We're going to look at grammar. Qala. Qala is ask your question. Is it a noun or a verb? Let's use the sheet and then check it with Abu Faris instead of going straight to Abu Faris. Qala, is it a noun or a verb? This is a verb. It ends in a fatha. It's a verb. It doesn't have a aina, ad, nad, ya, or ta in front of it. So we would say it's a verb. Nothing's attached to it. So it would be a verb. We go to the sheet. Where is a verb? It's not the command. There's no sukoon on it. So it's not a command. It's not a noun. It's a verb. Then we'll say it's past tense. If we go to the sheet, it's past tense. It has the fatha. Nothing. No tu, ta, ti was added. So we go to the sheet, and we find that past tense conjugation without anything added is fa'ala. There's no tu, ta, ti, na, tum, tuna, na. It's not added on the end. So it would be he. He did something in the past tense. Now let's go down and let's take, what did Abu Faris say? He said, he said. Qala, he said. In the past tense, he said. Ya iblisu. Iblisu. Ya is a particle. Iblisu ends in a Dhamma. So we're saying, yeah, Iblisu. This is a particle. It's called a vocative particle. It's calling. It's calling. It's calling Iblis. But now it's Iblisu. Nothing affected it. It's a noun, but the particle did not affect it. Now, the only in this phrase, grammatically, are the words affecting each other. The word outside the phrase doesn't affect it. Look at it inside the phrase. Try that first. So Iblisu is not the one that's calling. So Iblisu wouldn't be the subject of the verb. There's a verb here, but Iblis is not the subject of the verb, or else Iblis would be the one who's doing the calling. You would say Iblis called, but this yeah here is a particle, so it's not Iblis calling. Iblis is the one that's being called, because this is the particle of calling. This is the one that's being called. Iblis is the noun of yeah, you could say, but it's the subject. But in the phrase, it's a phrase you could say that's calling, and Iblis is the one that's being called. Yeah, Iblis. Now we're going to go back and connect the phrases. First, the word for word. Ma starts another thought. Ma is here is functioning like a noun. What? What is so and so? What? But there's no predicate. It's a subject and there's no predicate. Man, what is so and so? Mena'aka. Mena'a, verb, past tense. I'm just going to say it without going to the sheet. You will go to the sheet. What's the conjugation? Conjugation would be he. What form is it? Form 1. There's no shadda. For 2, there's no aleph. For 3, it could be 4. Can't be 5. There's no shadda. For 5, there's no aleph. For 6, there's no noon. For 7, there's no tab. For 8, there's no sin tab. For 10, 9 is very rare. So it has to be 1 or 4. Between the two, it's 1. So if he did something in the past tense, it's just making a declaration. He did something to you. He prevented you. Or it prevented you. What is so-and-so? It prevented you. That, tasjuda lima. That, you, that, and, that's a particle. Tasjuda is a verb. It will be a verb. And it's you, it could be you, masculine singular, in the conjugation, or she, because they're the same. We added a nay tag. We have a tag, na, ya, or tag, a nay tag. So according to that we added a tag. We added a tag for present tense. If we go to the sheet and we look for the present tense on the sheet, we added a tag. We added a tag on taf alu. We added a tag, taf alu. It could be either she or it could be you, masculine singular. By the context, we will know. Context, let's look at the other words. That will give us the idea. So, it would be you, masculine singular, because we said cat. Cat is you, masculine singular. Now, we attach the cat. Let's go back. We attach the cat. This is an attached pronoun, cat. Mena'akeh. He prevented you. Mena'akeh. The you is an objective pronoun. It's the object of the verb mena'ah. When the pronoun is attached to the verb, it's the object of the verb. He prevented you. Who or what did he prevent? He prevented you, the object of the verb. So this would be the same you that you prostrate. Now it ends in a feta. So the mood has changed. That you prostrate, and it's a feta because of the particle and. It's subjunctive because of the particle and. Lima, to what? Li would be a preposition. This what would be also act like a noun. It would be the object of the preposition. Whenever you have a preposition, the next word that follows is going to be the object of the preposition. That you prostrate to what? The next phrase, halaktu. Halaktu, sukun tu. Watch my endings. I see sukun tu, that tells me it's going to be I, past tense, right away. Because I memorized for alatu, for alatef, for alati, that's going to be halaktu. What form? Let's see, shadda, aleph. Nothing shadda aleph. There's nothing, there's no shadda, there's no aleph. Nothing shadda aleph. Nothing for 4, 5 shadda, 6 aleph. There's no shadda, there's no aleph. It's not 2, it's not 3, it's not 5, it's not 6. There's no noon, it's not 7. There's no tag after the first root letter. It's not 8, it's not a singing tag, it's not 10. It has to be 1 or 4, it's going to be 1. 4 in the past tense will have an aleph with it. So I'm just going over the sheets in my head. Once those sheets are in your head, you reflect on the sheets. Form 1, halak 2, I created. Form 1. B, that's a preposition, B. Yaday, yeah. Yaday, yeah. Here you have, let me show you. Here you have two yas here. You have a B and then you have the noun. The noun is, and this is good even for the advanced. The noun would be yadani, because the ani makes it two. It makes it dual. Ani. No, I don't need that. Yadani. That's two hands. Yada is hand. Yadun is hand. Yadun. Yadani is two hands. That's two hands. Now, if I put this in the genitive or accusative, it's going to be yadaini. Yadaini, because I'm going to add aini to it. This should be, no, that's not right. Yadaini. It's not connecting. There we go. Put the sukun there. Aini. Yadaini. Yadani, yadaini. Now, I'm going to add a pronoun to it. The ya. We're going to add a yeah to it. But you don't say your dad need when you add the pronoun. Your day need, because the be is going to cause it to be in the genitive. So it's going to be aini or in. It's a. It's going to be two hands. If with many hands, you would say yadi na. Yadaini is two hands. But when you add the pronoun, you're going to drop the noon. When you drop the noon, it's going to read yeah, day, and then this would be the yeah. Yeah, day, yeah. You put the yeah on it. Because you can't say your day, you won't say your day, your day, yeah. Your day, yeah. You drop the noon and added the yeah. Because when you have the dual or the plural in the first term possessive with the nouns, you drop the noon. When you have the dual or the plural in the first term possessive, you drop, and with the pronoun attached, you drop the noon. So here we drop the noon. It becomes your day, yeah. Now we blend the two yes together, and it becomes your day, yeah. Now your day, yeah is my two hands. It's two hands, both hands. I created with my two hands. Yes. And that can miss a lot of the readers. If you look at the translation, it just says, he said, what Henry from prostrating that which I created with, he said both. He did say both. Both my hands. Yes, both my hands. Some would say with my hands. Both my hands. Yes. Now we reflect. Estakbarata, this is asking a question. Estakbarata, I see sukun ta on the end. Now, this is sukun ta on the end, so this it cannot be present tense because you have the sukun ta on the end. Here is the kabara is your root letters. I added sin and ta for 10. Form 10, that's sin ta. Form 10 is easy to see. You got sin ta. Then I have sukun ta on the end, which tells me it's you, masculine and singular, past tense. Form 10. Form 10 is seek. Do you seek? Do you seek to be kabara, big, great? Allah is greater, akbaru. Are you seeking to be great? Or am kunta. Sukunta. There's a sukun here, kunta. Sukunta. Kana is acting like a verb. Kana sukunta. You did something in the past tense. You were being preposition al-alina, the object of the preposition. Where we have a preposition, the next word is going to be the opposite of the preposition. You were from al-alina. Are you from al-alina, the high? Are you from some high place? Are you from those that are high? Alina. Yes. I'm going through reading it. Now, look at for the students, the beginning students. Look at Abu Faris. It's going to be on the Neem Network. Print it out and see if you can follow what I just said. Come Sunday, I'm going to ask you. That's your assignment. Come Sunday, I'm going to ask you to see how you did. So come Sunday for the discussion at 8 o'clock. That's the beginners. Now, let me show you something. Now let's look at the phrases. We're going to look at the phrases now. So, Carla, he said. That's the first one. That's he said. Now, it stops here. That's a phrase. He said. That's a complete phrase. You got a subject, you got a verb, that's a complete phrase. He said. A complete thought, a complete thought. He said. Then you have that's that phrase. It's a verbal phrase. He said. Then you have the next phrase is Ya Iblisu. This is, I'm going to call it a vocative phrase. Ya Iblisu. Oh Iblis. Now, this phrase is related to this phrase. How? This phrase is what we call the kaulun, the saying, and this phrase here is that which was said. He said, and this is what he said. So this is in the grammar, you may call it the makulu el kauli. Makulu el kauli. Makulu el kauli. Yes. This is called makulu el kauli. This is new even for the advanced. Meaning that is makulu is what is said of the saying. This is the saying, this is what is said. He said, what did he say? He said, Ya Iblisu. So that's this phrase. He's calling Iblis. He's getting Iblis' attention. Oh, Iblis. Yes, he's getting his attention. Once he gets his attention, here comes the next phrase. Mad. What? This is Allah speaking to Iblis. What? You know how we do in English. We don't say the whole thing. Now, what is the subject in this phrase? But there's no predicate in the phrase. The predicate is understood. What is that? You put is before the predicate, it'll make sense. What is this? We say, in English, we contract it, say, what's this? What's this? This becomes the predicate. What is this? What is that? But it's understood. When you see somebody, you say, yeah, please, what? What? You get it? Now, this phrase, this math phrase is connected to the phrase that came before. And it's what we would say, it's the response. It's the response to the call. You're calling him, you have his attention. Now you're going to this phrase is going to tell you, what are you calling me for? You say, yeah, please. He looks at you now. The response to the call is mad. What? Now, you could get into a discussion to say, maybe it's Iblis saying what? Maybe it's Allah saying what? Mad. But it's Allah speaking. Mad what? This phrase is the response to this phrase. Now you have the attention. Now here comes the response to the attention. What? Now you have mena'aka. Mena'aka. It prevented you. What is that? It prevents you. Another phrase. It prevents you. Now, some will say, Menaka is a phrase. It's a verbal phrase that's connected to the phrase before, which is ma, serving as the predicate of ma. Word for word, the predicate is omitted. But in terms of the phrase, it's the predicate phrase of the ma phrase. What is, then they may even translate it without you knowing that there's a word dropped. There's a word is dropped. What is preventing you? What has prevented you? To make it make sense. So let's go on and see how he translated it. How did he translate it? What hindered thee? See, when you read in English, you don't know that something was omitted. You can't tell something was omitted. In Arabic, you can tell something was omitted. But in English, you can't tell. You say, what prevented you? What prevented you? What is this? It prevents you. What is this? It prevented you. You see, what is it? But what is it that prevented you? What is it that prevented Iblis? We get a little more detailed in the reading when you're using a source like Abu Faris. That's why I use it. So you can see it in detail. Some may just mull over it, take it for what it is. But when it's not your language, you start looking at it close. Then the next phrase is, and tasjudat lima. That you prostrate to what? To what? So now this phrase is connected to this phrase as a subjunctive phrase. This act of prostration is subjunctive to the act of prevention. It prevented you that you prostrate, right? In order that you prostrate. Why? Your prostration or not prostration is based upon the prevention. It's subjective to prevention. What is that? What is this? It prevents you that you prostrate. He could say, I'm not clean. I didn't make wudu. What is it? But it's subjunctive to this act is subjunctive to this act. I hope you see what I'm saying. So this becomes, we call it a subjunctive phrase. Lead mad to what now? This mad here, even though it's acting like a noun, the object of the preposition, it's called a relative noun. This is a relative noun. Lead mad. Now, halaktu what? Now this is going to be a phrase I created with my two hands. This is going to be a phrase called a relative phrase to this phrase. This is a relative phrase to this ma. I say this ma. This the relative noun. This the relative phrase. The relative phrase. I just give it to it in English now. So this is a subjunctive phrase to this phrase. This is a predicate phrase to this phrase. This is a response phrase to this phrase. This is the calling phrase that was just called the calling phrase to this phrase. See, they're connecting grammatically, the phrases. They're connecting. You read the phrase, and then you make the connection. Read the phrase, make the connection. Read the phrase. Now, if you're in the beginning, yes, the question for the beginners and some of the advanced is, how do I know what's a phrase and what's not a phrase? Perhaps, inshallah, next week, will be last week, maybe I'll go over this, and then let's see how we can identify phrases. We won't do it today. We'll see how to identify phrases, read the grammar, and then read it connecting phrases grammatically. This is where you start. Before we get into sources, you want to do this. But it'll get fast for you. Just don't skip over it. Because the sources, when they start talking about the verse, you have to have this in mind to understand the Arabic sources, the Arabic tafsirs and things. You have to understand the reading before you get into that, because they'll be talking about it. And then you have to go back, take what you're getting from them and go back and put it in. Maybe the last week we'll do some things like that. We'll take our time and go back and see how we fit it back into the verse, the source, what we're getting from the source. Istighbarata. Now, istighbarata is starting a new thought. Called isti'naf. It's starting a new thought. Istighbarata. Meaning that this phrase is not connected directly to this phrase. It's another thought. It's continuing, but it's a new phrase. All of these phrases here are connecting. You see how I connect them. This one, you don't make a connection because it's a new thought. Istighbarata. Are you seeking to be big, or kunta min al-alim? Yes. And this last phrase is a conjunction. Yes. Conjunction. Yes. Yes, conjunction. Atfun. This am is atfun. Atfun meaning conjunction. You got wa, fa, thumma, al, or am. This is a conjunction. Or. So this phrase is a conjunction to this phrase. Are you seeking to begin, or you were? This is a conjunction to this one. So this will be the genitive phrase to this phrase. It's the conjunction, not the genitive. It would be the it's a follower sequence. When we use the conjunction, it's sequence. This phrase is in sequence to this phrase. By the conjunction. It's a conjunction phrase or sequence, phrase of sequence. This is, if you use it grammatically, this is a phrase of sequence to this phrase. Conjunctive phrase. That's how you read them. So that's how we connect the phrases. You connect in the phrases when you're reading. So you want to learn how to read words grammatically, and then how to connect the phrases. Now, something I'm going to say in conclusion here. I think we're at the end. In conclusion. Yes. In conclusion, you notice how, when you look at the Qur'an, look down here at the Qur'an, at the verse we're looking at. Notice how, from ya all the way to the end, the Qur'an has no punctuation marks. There are no commas. There are no periods. So forth and so on. There are no exclamation points. There are no punctuation marks with the Qur'an. So how do you know when to pause, when not to pause, when to stop? How do you know? Now, they give you number of the verse. They'll give you that, even though in the Qur'an you may not have this number. But they're giving you the number of the verse, but they don't give you commas and periods between. You have four statements, but there are no periods. There are no commas. There are no punctuation marks. So you want to learn how and where to pause first. Like here. Now you'll see people have put symbols here in the Quran of pausing or not pausing or have pause or what have you. You learn that with tajweed. But when you come to Mali and you start learning how to read grammatically, you can pause at every phrase to reflect on the previous phrase. So you say call that, pause. Don't say call that, yeah, pause. Yeah, Iblisu, pause, reflect. He said, this is what he said. He said, now you want to know what did he say? You're looking in your mind, what did he say? Pause. He said, oh, Iblis, pause. Why is he calling Iblis? Mad. That's why does he want Iblis' attention? Mad. He's not calling the angels, he's calling Iblis. Mad, pause. You can pause, mad. Mad what? Let me look down at mad. I don't see a noun coming in a nominative, so it must be dropped. Mad. What? Keep in mind what? Whatever it is preventing you. What? It's preventing you. That you prostrate to what? Pause. What is the what? Here the what is to what? What I created with my two hands. Not what prevented you. Maybe this is the same what that prevented you. Maybe what is preventing you is what I created with my two hands. It's preventing you. Allah knows what's preventing him. It's what I created with my two hands. But he's asking him. See the language and what's going on? So I'm pausing. See how I'm pausing and I'm reflecting. As I pause and reflect, I'm saying things that's coming to my mind. It's okay. It's okay to think. There's no crime in thinking. And there's no crime in saying, well, that's not quite it. That don't make quite sense. That don't connect well. It's okay to do that with yourself. Don't be hard. Don't be a hard vessel that you can't be changed. You can't reflect. You can't think. Maybe it's this. Maybe it's that. Let me look. See. Let me see here. Well, if it's this, if he's saying this here, let's see what the next one's going to say. If he's saying that there, let me see what this is going to say. Don't be afraid to do that with the Qur'an. And don't be afraid today to have a beautiful thought. Tomorrow you come, read the same verse and get another thought. Something you saw like 5 minutes ago, I didn't see the mad here in relation to the mad here. I didn't, but now I see it. I didn't see it. Now I see it. Let's relate these two mads. Let's see what happens. If I say this mad is this mad. Let me think about what's being said now. See, that's what I do with the Quran. Now we've been here since 8 o'clock. It's 9:30. We're on one verse still. But I'll be on this verse maybe for a week. On this verse, speaking about this verse for a week. I do it all day. Come back, somebody bring this verse up in the class, and y'all think I'm just doing it from the top of my head. No, maybe that's a verse I thought about last year for about a week, and something triggered for all of that to come up. Then I start talking. Yeah, it's because these lessons have accumulated in my head. It would accumulate in your head. Next thing you know, boom, you bring that picture up of the verse in your head, and you'll start talking. Those pictures will come up. Not the picture the Sheikh gave you. All those pictures that I had when I was looking at this verse and I got, you'll come Sunday with another picture I didn't get, and it might trigger something in my head, and I'll start talking from those pictures. Now, apply it to your life like that. I look at this verse, and I might be walking and I say, he act like Iblis. Oh, you shouldn't think that. Yes, I should think that. There's no crime. I didn't say it. I can think it. There's no crime for me thinking. And I'm seeing this principle operating. And I might say, oh, what prevented you from doing that? I know what prevented them. What prevented you? Now, Iblis may lie and say, I didn't make wudu. I'm not clean. I'm still a liar. Enough said. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Thank you for your time. Ramadan Mubarak. Assalamu alaikum.